There are a handful of familiar faces in the race for North Carolina Attorney General. Last week, we spoke with Durham County District Attorney Satana DeBerry. There's Republican Congressman Dan Bishop. And tonight, we're speaking with Democratic Congressman Jeff Jackson. Representative Jackson, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Congressman, you were an assistant district attorney in Gaston County after graduating from law school. Your opponent in the primary is the Durham County District Attorney. She's also served as general counsel for the State Department for Health and Human Services. Why do you believe you are more qualified to serve as the state's attorney general?
Well, I respect her record. Here's mine. I've been a criminal prosecutor, a civil litigator, a state senator, a member of Congress. I served in Afghanistan with Army Special Operations, and now I've been in for 21 years. I'm a major now in the National Guard. I'll defer to the voters as whether or not they think one of us is more qualified than the other, but I have nothing but respect for my opponent in the primary.
Let's talk a little bit about your record, specifically about gun safety legislation. I know you've been a proponent of gun safety legislation, including, if I'm understanding correctly, universal background checks. You've also talked about how hard it's been to get legislation passed. Is gun control, gun safety reform, is that something that you want to tackle if elected as AG?
Well, the job of Attorney General is to keep people safe. And keeping people safe from gun violence is going to be a top priority because we have a really unfortunate amount of gun violence in the state. The idea is you are more of a defender of people. There is an advocacy role as well. So I would advocate to the state legislature when I thought certain legislative reforms needed to be made. But look, it's not really a partisan job. It's not really going to be about left versus right. It's going to be about doing the right thing. And I think in order to do the right thing in a job that's about keeping people safe, you have to try and tackle gun violence. I mean, there's just no way out of it.
So aside from lobbying the lawmakers, what can you do aside from being an advocate? Like North Carolina's laws do restrict actions that other states can do. You know, other states are going after gun manufacturers, for example. What can you do?
The Attorney General can serve as a convening authority among law enforcement to try and elevate priorities for enforcement, for prosecution. But look, we don't get to just make laws. That's very much the domain of the state legislature. So you can use your convening authority among law enforcement, make sure it's very clear what the mission needs to be. But at the end of the day, it's going to be, one of my jobs to ask the General Assembly, hey, let's keep people safer with some better laws.
We got to talk about your social media presence. You have a huge following on all the platforms on social media, specifically on TikTok. You've got, I believe it's 2.5 million followers when I last checked. I'm sure you know TikTok has been banned on state-issued devices here in North Carolina. Curious to get your thoughts on what message you think it sends to state employees that you're using a banned platform to drum up support for this campaign.
Well, I'm not using a banned platform to drum up support for a campaign. I use social media to keep my constituents informed about work that I'm doing on their behalf. And I use 7 or 8 different social media platforms to do that. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I do a weekly update where I let my constituents know, hey, here's the work that I did for you this week. And the reason I use TikTok is because I've got about 760,000 some odd constituents. My sense is about 300,000 of them are on TikTok. And there are a lot of valid concerns about TikTok. I share the FBI director's assessment of a lot of the security threats. And as a member of Congress, I would be in favor of a lot of different reforms to help improve that situation. But as long as it exists, I'm going to use it for good, and I'm going to use it to keep my constituents posted.
Now, because it is banned on state-issued devices, will you stop using it if elected, particularly TikTok?
Oh, it's banned on federal devices as well. I don't use it on a federal device. I would not use it on a state device.
Okay. All right. Well, Representative Jackson, appreciate your time here tonight and good luck.
Thank you.